I'm gonna hit the buzzkill button. That's what I call that nowadays. Um, and have you just kind of share anything that you feel is important about your story, and we will kick it off after that.
Yeah, I'm so excited that we made this work. I look a hot mess. My lashes went through it this weekend. In Florida, there's like four left on both eyes, so it's not good because
There's
my
too much humidity, and there was too much laughing until we were crying. It's fine.
right, and my lash appointment isn't until Friday, so we gotta hold on tight with these four for the next 5 days. But I'm so excited to hang out with you guys. I'm Shey Knox. I am 23. And my 5 year anniversary with this business is actually in 2 weeks, which is so crazy because I've literally grown up here. I joined this business when I was 18. I was here. I've been here for 5 years. So think back to when you were 18, the things that you've gone through in your life, like the things that I've done since I was brought into this business is honestly mind blowing because what I've done is what I thought would take my whole life to achieve. Being a homeowner and buying my car and purchasing land and doing all these things. Sometimes I sit here and I'm just like, I don't even know how these last 5 years have even happened and how the Lord was like, this is the vehicle. Because when I actually joined the business, I thought that I was going to become a nurse. So I don't know if there's any nurses on here, but to me, becoming a nurse was almost just like a security thing for me. It was like, I've only known struggle. I've only known being broke. I moved to 17 homes in my childhood, people's couches, which friend we could stay with for the night because we got kicked out of the house we were in before. And when I thought about going to college, I was like, you know what? Nurse is a safe bet. I'm going to do that. Well, then I was like, wait, how am I going to pay for this? Like, how am I going to pay for school? I don't want to pull out, taking out student loans to me meant debt, and debt meant going back into the same cycle of the life that I grew up in. And so I joined the business, and my first month I promoted to Ruby. If there's any Rubies on here, drop a me in the chat. Ruby changed my life. Not because the income is like so, significantly life changing. It's just that couple $100, but it's the fact that like this worked. It like actually worked. I paid money to join this business, not having any expectations, and then I got a paycheck back. Like it wasn't a scam. And then 5 months into the business, 3 days after I walked the stage and graduated high school, I promoted to diamond. And that's something that I remember when I joined was like diamond was the stars. And here I was, 18, making $2,000 a month. I earned a $5,000 bonus. And I was like, you know what? That feeling that I felt when I went Ruby, now I'm a diamond. What happens if I keep this show going? Like if I keep putting in the work, where is this going to take me? And so I went through a really rough period of my life. For about 11 months, I stopped working the business. Anybody ever done that? I was posting, okay? I never stopped posting. I posted freaking every single day, probably 6 times a day, because that's what we were supposed to do when we joined, and use the app Pick Tap Go. Anybody ever use that? Okay, those were the days. You just clicked to 17 filters until you couldn't see your face anymore, and it was good. And I stopped putting in the work. Anybody ever done that? I stopped showing up. I stopped being excited. I stopped doing the things that I got to diamond doing, but expecting the same paycheck, not doing the things, okay? And I had a huge reality check, and I went to my very first conference. Anybody ever been to conference or any event? It changed my life. And I do not say that lightly. It changed everything for me because I sat in section 214, basically touching the roof, and I looked at people sharing their stories, talking about coming from a life that I came from. Some of them worse. Listened to so many different stories, and I was like, if they can do this business, so can I. And I ran with that because maintaining executive put my account $80 in the negative, was literally eating the McDonald's dollar menu while I was at conference, okay? 30 days later, I went double diamond. 90 days later, I went triple diamond. 90 days later, I went presidential diamond. By the next conference, I was speaking on that same stage that I watched other people share their story, telling me that I could do the same thing. A year later, we went ambassador, and now I'm an ambassador diamond, triple diamond 2.0, truly just living the life that I always dreamt of, and not the kind that I thought. The financial dream life is what I thought was that I was chasing, going to nursing school and doing all those things. It was all about money. And now it's like My dream life is the people that are in my life. It's the freedom that I have. It's the ability to step into what God has called me to do. And I fully believe that as much as I wanted money, there's so much more that comes from this business that is stuff I never expected that turned out to be the biggest blessing about what I do. So,
Oh, freaking good. I love that. So hold on, let me make sure else is muted. Okay. I want to ask a couple questions, but I want Tay to share a little bit about her story too, because it's funny. She is also a nurse, and I love both of your guys' stories, and then I'll share a little bit about mine too, so you guys can know where we're coming from, because I know we have a lot of new people on here. And even though I've heard both of your all stories before, I still love hearing it because there's something new every time that just pops out of our mouth.
Hey friends, what's up? Okay, so I actually started this business 6 years ago in July. Feel like a dinosaur, it's fine. But I started actually right before my last couple semesters of graduating from nursing school. And honestly, I wasn't looking for something online. I was just kind of used to struggling. Like I moved out when I was 17. I've always worked 2, 3 jobs. I've taken care of myself, and I lived paycheck to paycheck. I was putting a lot on credit cards, essentials on credit cards. I was just trying to make it by because I knew, or at least I thought I knew, that once I graduated, that life would be easier. I thought that once I became a nurse, that my financial problems would go away. I'd be able to start paying off my credit card debt, paying off my student loan debt. I just knew that like once I became a nurse, life was going to be easy. That's literally what I thought. So when this opportunity landed in my lap, of course I was struggling and I had to put the investment on a credit card to join, but I didn't really think that this was going to really be something I would do long term. I just thought, hey, I want to lose weight, want to make money. Let's just see what happens, because I can't afford the products if I wanted to just lose weight. So I need to at least make money to pay for my products. And so that was kind of my mindset. So I've always run an ADBB auto ship. I've always been a product of the product. I lost 30 pounds when I first started with the triple threat. I was taking Thermophyte X, I was taking greens, and I was taking fat fighters. And when I started losing weight, I just felt so much more confident, and I needed this business in so many other ways, not just the financial part, but I needed it for my health and for my confidence and for my faith. I had really unwavering faith when I started this business. And because of this business, I regrew my faith with God. I found friendships and people that I just looked up to. People were where I wanted to be. I loved like being in a business that there was always more to stretch for. There's always a new goal, and there was always just dreamers that you were surrounded by. And this environment was truly just so like refreshing, because if anyone works in the hospital, it's very depressing. It's very high anxiety. It's very just intense constantly. And I would come home and just feel so drained and wiped out. And I would look forward to working this business as soon as I'd get home, even though I was exhausted. So 6 years later, you guys, I retired as a nurse. It was not what I thought it was going to be. Okay, to be honest, I thought life would be easier, and no, this business totally doubled, tripled that income. But more than the income part, it just fulfilled me in a way that nursing couldn't. I thought that I was going to impact people when I was a nurse, and it's actually it's hard. It's so much different than what you think. And so I get to actually touch lives and make an impact here, and I feel so fulfilled. And I know that God called me here for a reason. And even if you don't really know like what your long-term vision is here, like you will figure it out, and know that God has placed you here for a reason. He has your seed in the ground right here. And as you keep watering that seed and as you keep going in this, he's going to keep putting new dreams in front of you. He's going to start opening doors that you just had no idea were even available to you. And you're just going to grow so much as a person. And so I'm excited that you guys are all here. If you're new, what is up? First Zoom, what's up? What's up? But that's just a little bit about my story.
Whoa, you can preach that. Okay. I have so many nuggets. I was like, okay, preach. So my name is Kelsey, and I joined the business. Honestly, I was in a totally different spot than these girls. I just had my baby. Okay, girl, listen, having a baby is amazing and it's a blessing, but I was just a hot mess. I had no clue. I was like, okay, I checked all the boxes, people. I went to school. I got my degree. I got married. I had a kid. Now I was broke. I felt like, but I did everything that I was supposed to. So how did I end up here? That was the confusing part. Like I had a degree. I actually had a master's. And I had a husband who was working full time, and it still felt like money was an issue. And you know what? I honestly, my goal when I first started is I just wanted to be comfortable financially. That's it. I just wanted to be comfortable. I didn't want to have to keep checking my bank account. I didn't want to have to count how many dollars were available for groceries. I didn't want to have my husband asking why my hair was so freaking expensive when I don't really know the answer. If any of y'all are hairstylists and ever want to explain that, I really don't know. Okay. I don't know why it is so expensive, but it's expensive. Okay. And then you have your nails, which now it's like, okay, I know I don't like sitting at the nail salon for that long, but like my nails can't be ratchet. Okay. And there's so much, right? Especially as females that sometimes we feel like we have to keep up with, whether it's I'm buying teeth whitening, or I need to buy a gym membership, or I need to get my nails done or my hair done or something. It's like, dang, we got to just keep up to eyelashes now, spray tan. Like it's a lot and it's expensive. And it's not like you or I was out there being like, I need the best, like MAC, most expensive makeup, or I need this, or I need that. Like, girl, I was just literally buying some drugstore stuff. Okay. Like, just give me some, what's it called? Little lipstick, the NYC. Is that what it's called? The NYC gloss. Like, that's it. And I'm like, NYX, yes. Just buying that drugstore stuff, buying some Maybelline foundation, which I still use. It's fine. But I was just like, I really didn't feel like I was asking for that much. That's my point. Like, I didn't feel like I was asking for that much, and I just was confused. And so when I found this business, it really answered a lot of questions for me. And I didn't recognize it right away. But what I realized was that it's not the smartest person who has a successful life. It's not the person who's the most suave who has the most successful life. It's the person who's intentional with what success is in their life that finds it. If I want to ask a lot of you, how many of you guys actually know what success means to you? Somebody said, did I freeze? Did I freeze? Did I freeze? It's the devil, y'all. It's the devil, because I was about to spit some words. Okay, so if somebody were to ask you, what do you want? Like, what does success mean to you? Would you be able to answer that? Honestly. Because I'm going to tell you, if your definition of success is comfortable, you're not going to get success. Because that's what I thought it was. I had to adjust my mindset before my paycheck ever adjusted. And so when I decided, okay, like I'm seeing these people and they're talking about these goals, like how many of y'all are like, I'm not going to go out there if I don't know if I can get it? That was me. I was like, girl, what? No, that's embarrassing. I'm not trying to embarrass myself. That's embarrassing. And I just felt like there was too much risk involved. And then I decided what was riskier, that or not being where I wanted for the rest of my life. And so I don't know, like, I don't even know where I'm at in my story, but I just started going off. So here's the thing. I ended up just working, and people are like, what did you do to go diamond, double, triple, presidential ambassador? I just did whatever it took. I did whatever it took at that time. And that's what I want you to realize. Like, I'm not sitting here trying to hold secrets from you. We're not being like, oh, well, I'm not trying to share all the things. Like, if I could have a video of myself, I would have a video of everything that I did. And y'all would be like, bro, your house was a disaster. Yup, it was. Be like, oh, you didn't put your kids to bed every night. Sometimes your husband had to. Yup. There's things that happened that I had to stay up later than I normally would have. And so I think the cool thing that we're going to talk about tonight is just what it takes to be successful, but also what to do to pick yourself back up. Okay, so first question, we're gonna kind of go around, and if you want to speak on it, speak up. If not, you can pass and one of us will answer. So Shey or Tay, either of you can answer. What do you do to deal with haters?
Okay, so I joined this business when I was 18. Remember? Okay, any of y'all remember what it was like in high school? You know, the mean girl table that you like didn't walk past, or that group of girls that you like automatically were being judged just for existing. So when I joined this business, you guys, I was friends with everybody, but I'm also that person where like I have a really tight knit circle and I don't really do, and if I don't want to do it, I ain't doing it. And so that's kind of all of high school. It's like, y'all go do it. I'll just hang out and not go. I want to be invited, but I'm not going to go. That's my personality. And when I joined the business, I didn't think anything about what people were going to think. It did not even cross my mind because I was like, I have 20 cents. Something's got to give. Like, I really got to figure this out. So, what other people were going to think about it never crossed my mind until I made my first post. And I'll never forget, someone commented and said, "You seriously joined one of those things?" And I was like, that was rude. And I am so sensitive, you guys, like so sensitive, so emotional. I take everything to heart. And I was like, oh my gosh, what the heck? And then I started seeing people talk about me on Twitter and make tweets about it works and post. I had a girl that I thought was my friend post a video of her making skinny coffee. And she was like, hey guys, making my skinny coffee, and posted it on her Snapchat. Okay. It's awful being in a business when you're younger, or not even when you're younger, but that's just what I relate to. But when it comes to doing something good for your life, the moment you step out in faith and in courage and do something out of the norm, you make the people that are unwilling to grow very uncomfortable. And I want you to think about all of the people that have made fun of you for anything that you've done. Think about, are they where you want to be, or are they behind you? Because I can tell you right now, how I handled the haters in the moment was I knew where I was going. Okay, sure, you don't understand, and that's fine, but I do, and I don't need you to. How many of you have ever believed in something so much, and maybe it's this business for you, and maybe you're not there yet, and that's okay, because it took me a little bit, but I believed in what I was doing so much because I believed in me, and I knew that no one was coming to save me, and it was up to me to change my life, and that's how I handled it then. But how I handle it now is knowing, would I trade places with you? If I would, I'll take your advice. I'll listen to you. If you're where I want to be, I will listen to what you have to say. But if you're not where I want to be and I would not trade places with you, I don't care what your opinion is of what I'm doing on my life, because I don't want to be where you are. And the advice that you have got you here, and I don't want it. So if you're in that position where you're struggling, maybe your family doesn't support you or your spouse doesn't support you, if you believe in where you're going, it may hurt. Okay, we're humans and words hurt, and it's hard, especially when it comes from somebody that you care about. But also understand that they don't believe you now, but they will believe in your confidence. They will believe in your excitement. They will believe in what you're doing. If they believe in you first, they don't have to believe in what you're doing. So that would be my tip.
So good. Tay, do you want to add anything?
I just want you guys to know that it's so normal. Okay. Can we just normalize that not everyone is going to believe in our mission and what we're doing here? It is going to be normal when you're doing something outside the grain. Like, you are going to have people that have no education and no knowledge about any of network marketing in general, that will have opinions that were formed from someone else's sister said, or someone else's aunt did, and they have no clue. And so I think the biggest thing is that you have to know what your vision is and where you're going and what your goals are and why you're doing this, and drown out all the other white noise. Like, all of the rest is just noise. And when you focus on that stuff, you're actually going to attract more of it to you. So if you don't want haters like hating on your posts, you don't want haters in your inbox, don't think about it and don't worry about it and don't dread it, because when you do start thinking about those things, you're only going to attract more of it. And I promise you that is like facts. So try not to let it like beat you up. Like, yes, it's annoying, but just delete, block people, and then move on from it. And don't worry every time you go to make your post. Like, don't expect people to start hating, because as soon as you start expecting that, it's just, yeah, you don't want to like bring that into your business. But I actually just shared this reel earlier. I just want to play it really quick. Andy Purcell, he's like my favorite. Hold on.
This is the reality, okay? Nobody's going to believe in you until you've already done it. Nobody's going to come and celebrate with you until you've already done it. The work is going to come before the belief, which means you're going to have to work.
The work is going to have to come before the belief. And I think that part of this business is like, you should be doing it for you, not doing it for the people that are on the sidelines watching you. Like, do it for you and like show up for you and have a vision for you and your family and like what your goals are. And then when you go and hit your goals and you're celebrating and people are watching you, and in a year from now, when you're paying off your credit cards and all those people that were over there doubting you, they're going to be like, damn, she did it. How? I want to learn. And so many of those doubters are going to be asking you, hey, can I have more information? And so sometimes, yeah, you have to just fall back and do the work. But when the results show up and you start changing your life and people around you see you change your life, they're going to want to get involved. And then by that point, it's like their opinions don't even matter. Like, you know what I mean? So that's like my biggest thing.
I love that. Both of those were so good. And I think that the only thing that I would add is that oftentimes it says more about them than it does you. And you can't choose what people say about you, but you do get to choose how you respond. And it can make you bitter or it can make you better. But the reality is that 99% of the time, it actually has nothing to do with you. It is them projecting their own insecurities. And people don't talk about, like, I would rather be disliked than somebody to feel indifferent about me, right? And somebody once told me, you can either be liked by everybody or you can make a difference. It's your choice. Jesus isn't liked by everybody. The people that literally have made the biggest difference in the world aren't liked by everybody. And so that's not our goal. Our goal is to make an impact, right? Is to make a difference, not only in your own life, but in your kids' life and in their kids' life, and a legacy impact, like a difference. Nobody's going to write like, oh, she had so many likes on her post, or she had so many of nobody cares, right? And I think that so often we get caught up in like, so-and-so said this and so-and-so said that. And I think the reality is it just goes back to, are you living for an audience of one? And that's Jesus. Like that, what people say about you is none of your opinion and none of your business. Like that's an opinion. That's not a belief. You don't have to believe what they say. So just keep moving. Just keep moving. Okay, next question. How do you grow belief in yourself? I think this is a question that a lot of people, like, I know I get a lot, because I think people like actually believe that like I was just like born with confidence, or there was just something that all of a sudden clicked, or one thing that happened. But how would you guys say that you've grown belief in yourself?
From doing. Belief and confidence in yourself come from you repeatedly doing something enough to where you believe that you can do it. I think that's why there's some people that join this business and they're just good at it, right? Probably those like overly confident, or they're like really freaking broke and they have no other option. But most people, it takes you a little bit. You got to figure out how to post. You got to figure out how to get the captions. You got to figure out how to get the confidence to make the video on your story. And then you're like, okay, now I got to make a reel. And the first one sucks really freaking bad. And the captions are horrible. And then you get the timing off and they're overlapped. And you're like, shoot, do I delete it? Right? We all go through that being the new girl stage. And we suck at this. Honestly, when we start, Time Hop does me dirty every day, because I've been here for 5 years. So at some point, every day for like the first year, my business kind of sucked. And I'm like, dude, ew, awful. Like, why did you think that people were going to join you from that? And so the more that I did it, the better I got. My first Facebook Live, I share it all the time, and I literally made a reel about it because I did not smile one time. Me. I literally was like, yeah, so I joined, it works. And I didn't even know what products we had literally before I did the live, because it was on like day 3 and all I could talk about was the wraps. That was it. I thought that was the only product. And I didn't smile, and people literally commented and they said, dude, smile or something. That's the first comment that's on the video. And so I sucked at them. And now I freaking could do live speaking for a career because I gained belief in myself from doing. And so many people wait, right? All of you probably waited to join this business because you didn't know how to do it. And we expect to be professionals in the things that we do, when reality is, no matter what job you ever get, no matter what decision, no matter what relationship, no matter what you do in life, you got to be the new girl at some point. but you get better. And practice does truly make imperfect. Not perfect. There's no such thing because I'm still a hot mess. But the more that you do it, the better you're going to get. Some of you are afraid to do your first team Zoom because you've never done it before, but how will you ever get better? Some of you are afraid to send your first voice message to that potential customer because you're afraid that you will sound stupid or be dumb, or you're afraid to go live on Facebook because what if you mess up? But what if you don't? What if you get the most incredible distributor? What if you enroll the next Kelsey Thornton on your team because you do that thing that you're afraid of? And so my biggest tip, just do. Step out in faith and God will lead the way. And the more that you do it, the more stronger you're going to get in that element, and you're going to feel so much better. And then you'll feel freaking confident to do the next thing because now you're like, oh wait, I got better. I'm good at this. It's working. And you'll start doing more than just staying stagnant because you're too afraid because you don't understand.
That was so good. I don't really have a whole lot to add to that other than I feel like once you start taking the consistent action and you start seeing results, that's really when you get excited in your business. Like I still pop, lock, and drop it. If I sign a customer, like I'm dancing, like my husband knows about it. Like I genuinely like get so much energy and excitement anytime I enroll a customer or a distributor, or shoot, even just getting people to host a post for me, I get excited. And I think that the action you take gives you those results. And when you see those results, it builds your belief, it builds that momentum in your business, it builds that energy. And you're like, okay, if I can do it, if I can sign one customer, I can sign 1,000,000. That's always been my motto, like, or motto, hello, motto. If you can sign one, you can sign 1,000,000. And that's just like facts. If you can sign one customer, you can sign 1,000,000. So I think just getting those results really does help build your belief and confidence in this business. So just keep doing the work that you know to do and you'll get those results, and then your confidence will build from that.
So good. I agree with both things that were said. I think the reality is it doesn't really matter what you do if you have belief that you'll figure it out. You know what I'm saying? Like my confidence is so much less in like, oh, I have confidence that I'm really good at posting, or I have confidence that I'm really good at making reels. Like I actually am not that great at making reels, but I also know that if I actually put time into it, I have confidence that I could be really good, right? Like I think that you have to have confidence that you'll figure it out if you put the time into it. Right? Like my son, he just started playing basketball. And this is a really simple example, but he watches basketball every night. And he's like, today he asked me, why am I not as good as Steph Curry? I was like, you just started, bro. Like, because you just started. And like, he's 5, but like he still has, but don't we have that same question that Deuce had, my son? We had the same question when we first joined. Oh, why am I not good as Shey? Why am I not as good as Tay? You just started, bro. It's the same answer. You just started, right? So let's not get so caught up in like comparing ourselves to how good we are, how good we aren't. Let's just be better today than we were yesterday. Let's be better tomorrow than we are today, and have the goal of saying, I don't know how this is going to happen, but I know if I put some time and effort into it, I'm going to figure it out. Right. And that's what I care about you having confidence in is that's really just the underlying success principle here. It doesn't matter what you do, have confidence that you'll figure it out, that you can figure it out, that you can get good at it. Even if you might not be good right now, you can be good soon enough. I always tell my daughter, like, she started complaining about her gymnastics, right? And she was like, oh, I'm just not good at it. And I said, one word would change your whole perspective. Yet. I'm just not good at it yet. What if you guys added that to your posting or to I'm just not good at this business yet, but I'm going to get good. Okay. Next question. Somebody asked, when I message people and they usually respond back, how do you get people to respond back without having them to message them again? I know people are busy and I want to get to know people. Present the business without constantly messaging them. What's the next move? I sometimes get stuck.
I think how I kind of get over this with anything, like with feeling like I'm messaging too much or not knowing when, or feeling like, what if I'm annoying them? How many of you ever feel that? Is if I don't ask, the answer will always be no. And I think a lot of times too, people don't understand that they need this business yet. And so when I'm messaging them or I'm talking to them or I'm following up with them, my message isn't going to affect whether they join or not. Right? It's not, I mean, it's not gonna be like, oh, I'm not gonna join that girl. She's messaged me too many times. Never. That's never a thing. As much as we think it is, they may get annoyed, but they're always gonna be a time when they come around. They're either never going to join because they were never going to. It's not gonna be because of you. Does that make sense? It's not ever gonna be because, oh, this girl annoyed the hell out of me because she messaged me 47 times. If she's never gonna join, she's never gonna join. It's whatever. But it will be the reason that they do join. Does that make sense? Never forget that, because I will say that when I joined the business, I messaged Courtney and she never followed up with me. I followed up with her. Like, I was ready to go. I didn't have the money to get started because I had 20 cents. But when I did get the money, I came to her. But there's also been times that I've had people that have messaged me and I have forgotten to respond to them. And they kept pursuing me and they joined the business. There's also been moments where I've messaged somebody one time and they've joined. But then I've also had one of my triple diamonds, I messaged her 36 times. 36 times to buy a product from me, bought the product, but a different product that she had been watching my stories and ignoring all 36 of my messages. And then 2 weeks later, joined for $20, went diamond in 60 days, and now she's about to go presidential diamond. Every situation is different. And so the answer is always just do it, because it's never going to make them not join. It will only make them join. Period.
So good. Anything to add, Tay?
No, that was good. I mean, I guess the only thing is, you know, like you said, whoever asked that question, people do get busy, and I'm like the queen of not texting people back. So I always just put myself in other people's shoes, and I'm like, they probably just got busy. Like, I always just assume the best. And so I typically, like, if I was just having a conversation with them and the conversation just died off, I just respond the next day or maybe 2 days later and just say, like, hey girl, did you get my last message? I just act like they didn't get it. Or I'll say, hey, did that make sense? Question mark. And I just ask them a question just to get back in the conversation. And then usually they'll respond and say, like, yeah, or, you know, sorry, I got busy, or no, it's just not the right timing for me. But at least they will respond. So if you just ask a question and make it super like low key, I think people will respond to you.
Yeah, for sure. I think that the biggest thing to remember is, like, here's the thing. It's not that inconvenient to message them, right? Like, it's not that inconvenient. Like, and I think we get so caught up in our heads about what the message is going to be. And my thing is, hey girl, did you get my message? That's it. Like, it's literally, that's it. That's all there is. And so I think instead of getting so caught up in like how many messages it takes, it's honestly just about making sure that you did it so you can knock it off your to-do list. Like, don't get caught up in your feelings about the messages. It's just part of what you do. It's just part of what your job is, right? Like, how many times do you think that I don't know, that a tree is like, I don't feel like growing. They don't ever do it. That's why they always reach their potential. We're the only species on the planet that doesn't grow to our potential. You ever thought about that? And it's because we get in our own brains and just stop doing that and just do it. Do your job. This is part of the job. The job is to make sure people know that you're still asking them, that you're still available, that you're there. And so, like, it doesn't have to be like a feelings thing. Like, yeah, you want to be aware. If they tell you to F off, then maybe you should probably not respond. But like, there's going to be a spot, like, if they don't respond, like, make them say no. Make them say, no, I'm not interested. Great. That's the second best answer you can receive. My least favorite answer is a no response or a let me get back to you. The second best answer is a no, because then I can move on to the next person. right? And it's not about you. If you are struggling with this, I highly suggest just listening to this free YouTube Audible called Go for No. It's about, I think it's like 70 minutes or something, and it's will literally change your perspective. And it will help everything. Okay, next question. How do you handle growing your network when you're adding people, but no one you ask wants to post for you? But 90% of my people on Facebook want nothing to do with it. I'm adding people every day, but I feel like it's not enough. Oh, this is a commonly asked question.
Okay. Whoever asked this.
Do you want me to repeat it so you can break
No,
it
I know.
down?
I know what the question is. I'm just asking for permission to be real. Can I do that?
Do it.
Okay, number one, I'm proud of you for being vulnerable and asking this question because I know you're in a hard spot and it's frustrating when you feel that way in your business. But I'm going to tell you what, every single thing about that question was negative. Guess what's going to happen when you're feeling nobody wants this business? No one will post for me. Nobody is messaging me back. No one is following me back. No one's accepting my friend request. There will be zero positivity coming from that because if there was, you're looking over it and only focusing on the negative of that. So that's the first thing, is making sure that I think the number one thing that will fix majority of issues in this business, whether it being you're not enrolling, you're not getting conversations, no one's messaging you, no one's interacting on your post. Number one, open a book. Start up here. And I literally did a Zoom about this last night if you guys want the recording. But everything that we do in this business starts up here. It go as simple as a caption on a post. If your caption, people can read through it when your mindset's crap, when you don't believe in what you're even saying. I promise you. Because in the worst parts of my business, it has simply been because this wasn't good. Not because this wasn't good, not because the company wasn't good, not because the promotion wasn't good, because this wasn't good. And so I find myself, even today, 5 years in the business, when I'm like, oh, nothing's working. I'm like, Cheyenne, duh, it's not working. That was crap, what you just said. So number one, look at that. Secondly, look at the numbers in which you're doing it in. I have always, caught myself when I'm like, oh my gosh, no one's messaging me back. And I messaged like 9 people. Of course not. It's a success in numbers thing. We get so defeated when we're scrolling. If you have enough time, hear me when I say this, if you have enough time to go back and look at how many people have left you on red, haven't responded, haven't accepted your friend request, haven't followed you back, you're not working hard enough. And I can say that boldly because if you have the time to go look for a problem, you will find it. Right? Yeah. Don't go back. Only forward. Go into more messages, more conversations. When I'm working and I'm sitting right here in this chair, I will go until I feel good. Why do I feel good? Because I get responses, I get a message back. I ain't stopping until I feel that, right? With Host to Post, I'm not stopping until I get 10 up. I don't care if I have to message 540 people that day or go through all of my, giveaway posts. Is it fun? Not always. But I will never go back and look and say, no one's messaging me back and I'm doing all this stuff and I'm not getting those posts up. Third step is look at what you're actually sending. Ask your upline, hey, should I be sending this message? Hey, what is working for you? So let's start with mindset. Number 2, don't go back and look at the other things and find a problem, because you will always find a problem when you're looking for it. And number 3, check what you're actually doing, because it may be the message, it may be your posting, it may be, there's always a missing puzzle piece somewhere. And you just have to look for it and be willing to pivot.
That's that part. Go ahead, Tay.
Okay. That was all straight fire sauce. I agree to all of that. I'm going to just share just some tangible things that you can do, maybe that at least has been working for me. You can take it with a grain of salt or try it. But I was struggling with post to post for the past couple months, and I kind of shifted how I'm working it. And I've heard a bajillion million people say this, and I just never really did it. But how I'm getting these posts up and growing my market at the same time is essentially, so if I make a post about the giveaway on my Facebook wall, all those people that are commenting that want an entry, I'm giving all of my friends a post about the giveaway. So I give them a post announcing my giveaway, sharing my giveaway for me, and then all of their friends start commenting wanting to enter. Okay. And so I'm going and adding all of their friends that are commenting, and I'm just replying to their message. Not all of them, like quality people. So the people
Uh-oh, breaking up.
commenting, they look like someone I want to grow my market with.
Is she going in slow motion for anybody else?
I'll like their comment and I'll reply to them and say,
Okay, hold on. I gotta wait till she stops. Hold on. Hold on. Okay. I had to mute you, Tay. It wasn't because I don't like you. I love you. It just your internet was like this, and I was liking and comment. It was really creepy. Anyways, that I guess that little imitation thing was a little unnecessary, but I did it anyways. So here's the thing. I know that it feels like that, but that's not the reality of it. I know it feels like you are messaging everybody and nobody's interested. I know it feels like you have running out of people to talk to. I know it feels like you're the only person that cares about your business. But here's this thing, I'm going to blow your mind a little bit. And this is kind of deep, but I just want you to think on it for a second. The only meaning anything has is the meaning that we give it. Right? It's the meaning that we give it. That's the only meaning anything has, is the meaning that we give it. So for instance, I'm at basketball. Basketball's in my mind because I coach my little boys team. So we had practice tonight. And one of the little boys was getting so frustrated because he was making all these shots, right? But he was shooting like this. Okay, that's not how you shoot basketball. Anybody doesn't know. And then he started correcting his shot and shooting like this, the correct way. However, he was started to miss them at first a little bit more. And so he associated the meaning of that, meaning that that's not the right way to shoot because it wasn't going in. But that was the meaning that he gave it, instead of me telling him, hey, this is the better way to shoot. It's going to help you in the long run. Right? And knowing that it's going to help in the long run. So just because he's missing baskets right now, I'm not that concerned, because I know once he gets a little stronger and practices that a little bit more, he's going to be better. But I gave it a totally different meaning than he gave it. So instead of you feeling like nobody's responding, you know what? Lord, thank you for protecting the people that I don't really want in my business from coming into my business. Thank you for blocking that. Because every single thing that I've ever prayed for, I look back sometimes and I'm like, oh God, thank you for not answering that prayer. Thank you for not answering that prayer. Right? There's so many times I can look back over my life and feel like that. And so my question to you is, what other meaning can you give that? Right? What other meaning can you give that? I know that I'm adding and I'm growing to my network, but it just feels like it's not enough and nobody wants to post for me. And I don't know how to do this. Like, it's just my network. It's just my issue. And I don't know what to do with it. What's another way that we could think about that? And just give yourself an option, because so many of us, and myself included, this was a whole mindset shift for me. I had to give myself another option to think about it. Like, it wasn't like I always took that option at first, right? It wasn't like I always took that option, but I know it's there. And so many of us are conditioned not to take the positive option, not to take in the option that we want, that we even forget that there's another option. right? Like we just only think that there's one option. This is the one way to think about it, but there's not. There's another way to think about it. You could say, thank you so much, Lord, for building my strength right now. I might not like it. I might not like feeling this way, but I thank you for the perseverance that you're producing in me. Thank you for making me dig a little deeper and ask myself why I really want this business. Because if it would have came a little easier, maybe I would never have to get really deep with it. Thank you for allowing me to even focus on growing my network, because maybe the people that I want in my business aren't currently on my friends page. And I need to go out there and get them. Thank you for showing me that I'm stronger than I thought I was. How about that for a perspective shift? Thank you for preparing me for what I'm praying for. Okay, next question. How do you share your story when you don't have any success yet? If you feel like I just joined, I don't have any success, or maybe you've been in the business for a while, but you don't have any success. How would you share your story?
Share where you're going. Always share where you're going, because even today, that's what I still do, is I share what I'm going to do with the business, because no matter what, you're always going to have things you're crossing off, and there's always a carrot to chase. And so when you first joined the business, you believed in someone sharing what they are doing or where they were going, right? When I first joined, it's because actually what's crazy is I'd actually seen somebody else posting in this business for 2 years. So from 16 to 18, I had seen someone sharing this opportunity, and never once did I say, I want to do that. Never. I clicked on the Discover page one night on my Christmas break. I joined December 21st, so if you think you can't enroll people in the fall, you're wrong, okay? Your best distributor could be coming, all right? But I clicked on that Discover page, and my upline said, she was standing next to her brand new car, and she said, I make $20,000 a month from this business. And I said, that's great, sis, but I need 500. I don't really care. But it's all because she shared that she did that, but then she kept sharing that she was going to do this and she was going to do that, and this business was going to provide for her future family. Guess what? She paid for IVF, and she's about to have her baby soon. And that's just a full circle moment for me of how many things she used to share that she was going to do with It Works, even though she hadn't done it, but I borrowed that belief for myself. And so Kelsey does that. Taylor does that. Other people in our business do that. Stephanie Dunn does that. Morgan Martin does that. They share what they're doing and where they're going. And so when you first get started, you believed in what they said. Not because they're not doing it, because they've done it and they're still continuing to share where they're going in their life. And so borrow that belief, share what you're going to do with this business. And then when those things start happening, people will believe it. But at first, you have to.
So good.
Yeah.
Oh no. No. Sorry, sis. It's not there. It's like so funny too, the lag. Okay. The lag is so bad. It takes a second. It takes a second for it to catch up on the mute.
Like you have to have that still.
Okay. So sorry, Tay. You're just gonna have to type in the comments. So here's the thing. Just like Shay said, it doesn't matter where you are. Nobody really joins for your success anyways. They join for their own. Like nobody joined to make me money. Nobody on here has ever joined to make me money. They join to make themselves money. And so you just have to show them what's possible. I love the tip of sharing other people's success stories. I remember doing that so frequently before I had any success, is I would share so many other people's success stories. Like I would share moms, I would share young girls, I would share older ladies. Like it didn't matter. I would share anybody's success story just to show people that there are people who are successful in this business. So there's so many different things that you can do. And also, if people know that you have confidence in what you're doing, they don't really care how successful they've been. They want to follow somebody who knows where they're going. So on the you don't ask, like when you hop on an airplane, like how many, this could be the pilot's first flight, but they know where they're going. And so you're like, okay, they know where they're going. Like American Airlines hired a pilot they're always going to have a first flight. But American Airlines has told them where to go, just like It Works tells us where to go. We have a roadmap for success, right? And I think that all of the time, we just have to kind of stop thinking that people know that we just started or that we don't have success, and just remember that people aren't attracted to our success. They're attracted to our confidence. They're attracted to the happiness. They're attracted to the joy. They're attracted to the energy that we put off, and not the amount of money that we have in our bank account. Okay, so that part doesn't really matter. The money part. Tay said, I signed my first PDTs because I kept talking about how one day I would pay off my student loans with this income and would start paying for my gas and groceries. Speak your goals into existence and continuously share it over and over again on your stories and in your post. So good.
Something else I want to share with you guys is, did you join the business because you wanted $500 a month, or did you join the business because you wanted $25,000 a month? Majority of you, there's probably one or two of those ambitious people that was like 25,000 a month, but majority of you on here joined for gas money. And that's the same thing that we posted about when we got started. I don't talk about it as much now as I should, but I do know that when people come to my page, they don't say, oh my gosh, I'm going to join her because she makes $20,000 a month. They're like, oh, that's inspiring. That's great. Good job. That's amazing for you, but never me. When you say, oh my gosh, I just joined this business and I'm going to start making $500 a month from my phone, they're like, yeah, that's relatable. I want that. So keep that in mind.
Absolutely. Okay. Last question. How do you get unstuck from life and the business? You know, there's a lot of people on here who have gone through a lot of life, you know, deaths, depression, COVID, a lot of bad things happening. And sometimes getting unstuck can feel like a really tall task. What advice would you give somebody on that?
Well, I think the first thing is, number one, not trying to push your way through the valleys and just get out of it, but understand why you're there. I've learned the most about my business in the valleys. Our sermon at church on Sunday was, you can't receive the blessings that God has for you if you're not willing to go through the wilderness first. And when he used the word wilderness, I was like, that's so much better than listening to like valleys, trials, hardships. Like, he said freaking wilderness. Like, that's like, guys, imagine being stuck in the wilderness. What that would be like, what you'd experience, what you'd see, what you would think about. And in those hardships that you're in, these are the moments you're going to share on Zoom when you go ambassador. These are the moments that you're going to say, yeah, that was when I hit rock bottom and it showed me that I can climb out of it, right? Kelsey, when she does Zoom, she doesn't talk to y'all about the really incredible parts of her life. Those are like briefly shared in a 2-minute, very beginning of the Zoom when she shares her story. And you're like, oh, that's cool. Great. Tell me the good stuff. Right? And then we share the hardships and the things that we face and the things we've overcome. Like, when I share my story, I share the hard. I literally told y'all that I moved 17 times and struggled. So when you're going through those, don't try to push yourself through them. Grow through them. Ask yourself, why am I going through this? What is the Lord trying to show me and reveal to me in this period of my life? Because that's how you're going to be able to do the good things. It's because of the stuff you put in your backpack and the things that you put in your toolbox because of what you've gone through. And so to get unstuck, don't try to push through it. Feel where you're at. And then number 2, do the things that you did in the best moments of your business. Like, get back to those things. And whether that be, when's the last time you opened a book? When's the last time you checked your circle? When's the last time that you got excited about something? When's the last time you got up early or stayed up late to like do the nitty gritty work? When's the last time you got 10 hosts to post up? Start with one thing, check it off, and do the next, and then do the next, and then do the next. Don't try to do all of it at once, because that's when you're going to feel overwhelmed and fail epically, okay? Do one thing, get better at it, do another, take baby steps until you get back to where you're going. And number 3, forgive yourself. Don't be upset with yourself for what you failed at this year, what you did. I had a girl come to me, last week, because we're doing a dream board Zoom next week. And she was like, I literally did nothing on my dream board. I was like, sis, that's okay. There's nothing you can do about it. You can't go back and change that. You can't go back and change all the work that you didn't do and the 6 lists that you haven't been doing and the distributors that have quit. You can't go try to pull them back, okay? But what you can do is forgive yourself and move on. And so do those 3 things, making sure that you're really going through, feeling, and walking through where you're at. And I promise you that the things you learn from this are what's going to teach you and show you how incredible that you're going to be in those high points of your business coming soon.
So good. Tay, you can type your thing because I don't think it's better because your picture is still frozen. But I think that that's so good and it's so true. Just like reminding it, like, oh yeah, Jesus, Jesus, one word, Jesus, right? I think when it comes to being stuck or feeling like you're not making progress, I think progress in this business can be a dangerous word because often the growth happens beneath the surface before any growth is seen on the surface. And I know that God loves to develop people in the dark. And I've always resented the dark. I don't like the dark. I like the spotlight. Like I like to see the progress. I like to see the results. I'm an instant gratification microwave type person. Okay. Like I microwave my freaking ramen noodles. That's how quick I like things to happen. Okay. But like, I think so many times, just like a photograph, things have to happen in the dark because it's preparation. And oftentimes only if things like we wish things were easier, but we don't realize how bad easy is for us. Easy is like McDonald's for us. It's convenient, but it doesn't do anything good for us on the inside. There's no nutritional value, right? But there's nutritional value when you have to like freaking cook your own food and make it take longer, right? It's more expensive. Sometimes it costs more to do that, but there's more nutritional value. And so you're being built up for a time and so you're being prepared. And so we can't resent those seasons. And I'm not saying that because I don't want this to sound really I don't know, like insensitive. I'm not trying to be insensitive because I know that those are really hard things that we're going through. Like whether it's a death in your family or depression or anxiety or anything that you're feeling, like I get that it's real. But I also trust that it's necessary for some reason or you wouldn't be walking through it. And trusting that. And that's why Tay said just Jesus, because that's a trust that you all can only have. That's a peace that only Jesus can give you because everybody else is saying, it'd be understandable if you weren't. It'd be understandable if you lost your mind right now. Yeah, but it's a peace that surpasses all of that understanding. And the only reason you can get that is through Jesus, is through prayer, is through keeping your eyes fixed on where you're going and not what's around you. Because what's around you isn't as important as where you're going. So just keep your eyes fixed on that. And it's one step at a time. It's one step at a time. I might not be able to do everything. Like literally, you guys, every Monday I do this crap to myself. And instead of this daily plan, okay, look how much stuff I did not get done on my list. Okay. But here's the thing. I've just realized it's like a weekly plan sometimes. Like this is like a weekly thing, right? It's like I put everything that I want to get done and I still have tomorrow to do it. And I think that sometimes we want to feel like we're unstuck, but it doesn't necessarily happen in one day. You just keep putting one foot in front of the other, one foot in front of the other. And you look up and you're like, holy crap, look how far I've come. Right? And celebrate those wins or they'll never feel like wins. Right? They will never feel like wins. Okay. Anybody want to close this out? Do you want to close this out in prayer, Shey? Or you want me to?
You can. Your first prayer was very good, and I really want to hear another one.
Okay. Dear Lord, I just thank you so much for just showing up when we ask you to. Your love never fails us, and you never give up on us. Even sometimes when we give up on ourselves, I appreciate that. You just always show up for us when we ask you to. And I ask, Lord, that you just take away any expectation we have of ourselves to be perfect. Because you don't expect us to be perfect. You just expect us to be willing. And so it's with willing hearts tonight that we hopped on the Zoom, and it's with willing hearts that we look forward to tomorrow to see what you're going to do in and through us. And I just ask that you use us in whatever capacity that looks like, and to stay focused on what you've called us to and not what other people expect of us, because it's so easy to get caught up in the expectations of the world. But I just ask that you help us stay focused on what you want from us through this business. Lord, I am so grateful for every single person that spent time with us tonight. I'm grateful for Cheyenne, and just her leadership and the way you've used her and her story and her pain for a purpose. And I'm so thankful, Lord, that you've set her free from her pain. And I just ask that you continue to use her to be a vessel to help people. I ask that you continue to bless her business and bless it abundantly. I ask that you continue to keep her humble, and just to keep you at the center. Because we know that you are a jealous God. You don't like anything in front of you or on top of you. You want to be at the top, in the front, in the center. And so that we just would all learn how to keep you there. Lord, I thank you for Taylor. I thank you for her wisdom. I thank you for her growth. I thank you for who she is and her love for you and your growth and with her, and just the pursuit that you've had in her leadership, that you've pursued her heart through this business. And I'm so grateful for her and for the leadership that she provides to this team. Lord, I ask that you watch over all of us during this holiday season, that you would allow people to see Jesus through us, how we treat people, how we act, how we love, and that we would just spread joy, whether it be through the business, just through a response that we have to somebody, but that we would just be able to spend time with you and renew our hearts each morning. We love you so much, Lord. In your name we pray. Amen. Okay, sorry, that was a really long prayer. I love you guys. Good night. I hope you don't fall asleep while you're closing your eyes to that prayer, but I love you. Have a good night.